Well now, will 2026 be my last year with my M Four Thirds system? I've been using the Olympus OM-1 for quite a while, and I think I'll carry on with that. Lots of different reasons. This is the kind of weather I get out in lots of times. And I like to photograph snowy owls and lots of far off things, puffins, all kinds of things. Now this is my 300mm prime, and that's an f4, the M300 f4 lens with the MC22X converter. A lot of my good friends call this my toy camera because they're using a lot larger cameras. They're using full frame, and some people are shooting with medium format like Hasselblads and stuff. But I'm finding now at 75, I've got some pain in my thumb here from the last day I was out photographing some snowies, and I can still manage this camera pretty well. I don't see the need to get anything bigger really. And this lens gives me the equivalent of 600mm, but because of the crop, it's like really having a 1200mm lens. And it really pulls things in close for me. Right now my 7-14 is on that camera where you're watching me from right now. But here's my macro lens. Look at that little bit. It's so tiny, yet I've got some incredible pictures with this. I think it's done really well for me. I'm starting to get kind of cold here right now, so I think I'm going to move inside and find a better place to do some more shots. I'm going to show you what this camera's allowed me to do. I've been shooting with Olympus since the 70s when they came out with the original OM-1 film camera. Then I got the, I had one with a pellicle mirror. I don't even remember the number of that one, but I went from that one to the E1, then the E3, then the E5. These are all bigger bodies, and I thought they should come out with like an E6 or something like that, and that would be the best thing. When they came out with these little cameras, I wasn't sold on it. It was a slow sell, but once I got into the Micro Four Thirds with the new lens mount, no problem whatsoever. It's just worked great for me. So I'm going to go inside now, and I'm going to show you some setups on the camera. I'll show the camera with different lenses, and I'll show you some of the pictures that I've been able to make over the years. I can't see any reason why I would move to a larger camera at this point. I thought about possibly getting digital Leica so I could use my lenses, but the style of photography that I'm doing now is mostly long distance, like birds. I've shot a lot of birds and things like that. I really love photographing snowy owls. So come on inside, we'll warm up a bit. Wow. Welcome to Bella's Vistas. Please stick around to the end and look at some of the great shots we've made with Olympus systems over the years. Wow, well, I'm still a little bit cold from being outside. Snow is really blowing out there. It's wild. Well, like I said, this is my kit. Everything I use pretty well fits in here. It's really handy. There's the 300mm with the 2X converter on there. It's a f8 at that point, but it's quite adequate for everything that I've been doing. The image stabilization is incredible. But in this kit I go from, well, the 7-14 is on the camera that you're looking at me with. 12-40mm. It's just a tiny little lens, and it's really, really handy. 40-150. Medium telephoto sort of thing. That's be the equivalent of 80-300mm, that's pretty handy actually for a lot of things. And the macro lens, I showed you the macro lens before. It's just tiny, but it does some incredible work. Everything fits in the case. Now gotten quite adept at pulling the 2x adapter off the lens, because this is a prime lens, it's not a zoom, so that's a little bit of a problem sometimes, but it's nothing that I can't manage. And the small size of it is so handy. Image stabilization is off and on there, and it focuses really quickly. It's very handy. I've gotten some tremendous pictures with this, and like I said, when I switched to this system, it sort of changed my photography. I wound up shooting a lot more wildlife and flying birds and things like that, things that I wouldn't shoot on 4x5 film for sure. But once I did find a butterfly in tremendous condition that was dead under an overpass, and I posed that on a flower and shot it on 4x5. The lab guys were pretty amazed when I shot a butterfly on 4x5 film, but that's not something you can do every day, and I never sold that picture either. Some of my owls have sold. I've done really well with some of them. A lot of these prints on the wall here. Now, I've been talking about how I started with Olympus in the 70s and had the original film OM-1, and then I got into the digital Olympus cameras, and this was the E3 here. If you compare the E3 body to the Micro Four Thirds body, it's like, and I didn't like that. When they started coming out with these little bodies, I thought that can't get all the goodness of this into here, and they did that and more besides. And with the latest upgrades to the backlit sensor, it's been incredible. Now, I don't think Olympus is going to come out with a new sensor this year. They might, but I heard no, because Sony is the one that's making the sensors, and until they come out with a new sensor, they can't do too much with the body. There's some of the new lenses that are pretty nice I'd like to have, but I just have to make do with what I have, because I'm not going to invest a lot of money in a new system at this point until I see what's happening. But what I want to do is show you some pictures shot with the 300mm, with the 300 and the 2x. Now, a lot of people say, oh, the 2x is no good, but I found it to be quite good. It really is. I don't have the 1.4, so I can't compare to that, but what's the sense of going up by 0.4? Figure if you want to change something, you got to double it if you want to see an effect. But I've had great results with this. Just a few days ago, I was out photographing owls, and I think I did very well with the snowies. Got some snowies in flight. And like I was saying, it gets hard to hold the camera. Like, I have a tripod, and I've got a tripod with a gimbal, and I've got all those things, but you could put the camera on your window. I would do that. I'd put like a toque on the glass of the window and rest the camera on there. But that's, when the bird flies or moves, you want to have you need the most freedom to follow it. And I found with the bird focus on here, it's got subject detection set for birds. I set that up, and I get the shots. Mostly I get the shots. Now, is Micro Four Thirds big enough? Well, that's a good question. Can you make a big print from a Micro Four Thirds? Here's some pictures. I'll show you me standing beside some pictures, and you can see right here I've got the Epson 9880. I had the 9800 before, and then I got the 9880. There's newer ones, but I don't have them. This is what I've got. You can make a 44-inch wide print with this. on canvas. And there's such a thing as the viewing distance. If you put that picture up on the wall and you look at it, it looks pretty darn good. If you want to get right next to it and use an Agfa loop on it or something and look for grain in the picture, well, you're going to find it. If you're a pixel peeper, maybe you want to go with a Hasselblad body or something like that. But if you want to get out in the field, I find for myself, and that's all that matters really. I can't tell you what you should think or how you should feel, but I think that I get out more with this camera. I get into places that if I had a heavier backpack, like sometimes it's all I can do to get out there. I mean, I'm going down to waterfalls and I have trouble slipping and sliding on the ice and whatnot. I've done that. We'll show you some of those pictures too in this video, and I'll talk a little bit about them. So I think it's time to start looking at some photographs now. There's a couple pictures that I've shot with this tiny little lens. I bought this one used for about $250, and the person that sold it to me thought it wasn't sharp. It's just a matter of knowing how to use it. And I've got a shot of a dung beetle. I was so disappointed when I found out it was a dung beetle because I didn't like the name. And I've got some pictures of Labrador tea with a mist, with the foggy dew on there, like misty fog, that I shot in Newfoundland at a lighthouse. So we'll show you that. So I'm going to show you different shots with the different lenses, and we'll go from there. So come on along. This is a shot along the Oregon Trail. This is Ruby Beach, shot with the Olympus E5. It's way before I got the Olympus OM-1. I'm quite happy with this. Now I think the sensor on the OM-1 is superior to the one on the E5, but this is what I had then, and I'm quite happy with this result. Along Iceberg Alley. This is in Newfoundland near Twillingate, Iceberg Alley. I'm really happy with this black and white shot with my Olympus E system. Monument Valley, look at that. I love the mittens here. This was early in the morning. A digital shot printed on our Epson printer. Stretched canvas. I'm just delighted with what I can do with the Micro Four Thirds. The Olympus Four Thirds is a great format. I think it's easier to carry, and it does make big prints. I can make big prints from my Olympus files. Well, this is an HDR panorama. I think I shot this handheld. You don't always need to use a tripod to do a panorama. Photoshop does an amazing job with this, stitching a panorama together. Off in the desert, we saw the yellow rose of Texas. What a beauty, the blooming cactus. Bristlecone pine trees with 90 minutes of star trails in behind. That was a blast. There's the print. 6,500-year-old trees. Amazing. 11,000 feet up in the air. Death Valley sand dunes. What a time that was. I met people from all over the world there. This is downtown in Kitchener and Victoria Park, my own hometown. Wow, that's out in my backyard. That's sort of a stained glass effect that I did. Look at there, a lighthouse, Rose Blanche Lighthouse in Newfoundland. Yes, you can make large prints from the 4/3 format. Wow, Joshua Tree Forest, what a time. I'm so glad I got to see that. Lake Moraine, I've been there so many times. I've really enjoyed it. I'd like to get there again one day. Look at this one here. Now that's an Olympus shot for sure. Near St. Joseph's Island, a beautiful sunset there, just fabulous. Downtown Kitchener, that's a long time ago. That's when they found the Corduroy Road. This is an HDR print that I made from several exposures. Wow, Antelope, near Writing on Stone Park. That's my signature shot. This was on billboards on the 401 and the 403. Look at there, Lower Antelope Canyon with the sun streaming through the sand. What a beauty. I've had so much fun over the years making these prints and traveling around. There's my owl against the moon. In Ireland, we saw thatched roofs, so many things to see. Galway Bay. Now, schlepping across Ireland with the backpack, I'm glad I didn't have a bigger backpack to carry. Thanks for visiting Bella's Vistas. I hope you'll come back again, like and subscribe.